Hello and welcome to a new video here on my channel at commaik. I'm still working on my project series about building a new lawn irrigation system here on this property. In the last videos, I showed you how I planned the system. I showed you which components I'm using, and today I'm going to start digging the trenches, laying the pipes and installing the sprinklers. And if you want to know how I go about it, then stay tuned, we're about to get started. After I laid the supply line under the sidewalk and into my distribution box, I can now also install the distribution head itself. Before I connect everything here in this box, I'll first dig the trenches, lay the pipes and insert the sprinklers. This will make the connection later at the box much easier because I know how long the pipes need to be and how much slack I need. I've carefully printed out my detailed plan so I know precisely which specific pipes go to which designated positions, and now I will diligently start digging the necessary trenches with a sturdy spade accordingly at the exact precise spots where I absolutely need to go. There are indeed special machines available for this purpose, however, that can dig all of this for you. In my case, I can't use any of that because just 10 centimeters below this topsoil, the soil quality is really poor with lots of stones and slag. That wouldn't work for me because the excavated material would just end up on top. Before I start digging, there are a few small things I need to keep in mind. Well, in my case, at least in the front area, there's still a cable laid. The control cables for my commaik robotic lawnmower, I first have to dig those up again here so I don't accidentally cut the cable. Both the outer and the control cable, as you can see here, I have already exposed. The outer cable as well as the control cable, which you can see here, I have already exposed. I still need to lay the return loop alongside. It also makes sense if you, parallel to the trench you want to dig, lay down a small sheet of plastic so that the soil you dig up can be placed directly on the plastic sheet. You should do this if your lawn is already in very good condition and the quality is really good, because the stones and similar things that I would dig out from the ground would end up on top. Even if I close the trench again, some of it will remain on the surface. As for me, I will still do without this plastic sheet, because when I am finished here, another layer of soil will be added anyway. Will be added, as you can see here at the hole I left open. The soil is very hard. It hasn't rained in weeks. By now it's been almost 2.5 months if you don't count a brief rain shower in between. My goal is to dig at least 1 spade's depth. For this, I will use the V-cut. That means I make a cut from the left and once from the right with the spade, making a V, a notch in the turf to a depth of about 20-25 centimeters, and I take out this V-shaped piece, set it aside, and in this way I can create a trench. Once the pipes are laid in place, this wedge-shaped piece of soil can be put back in and secured, and the whole thing is then restored within the framework already finished. By the way, especially on larger properties with longer trenches, it makes sense to mark the positions of these shafts in advance. For this, I used regular marking spray so I know exactly where I need to dig my trench. The spray will wash away over time and will no longer be visible afterwards. By the way, you can find the spray linked below the video in the description. And while you're there, now would be the perfect time to give me a thumbs up for this video if you've enjoyed it so far. If you have any questions, write them in the comments. I'm happy to answer. Digging the trenches took significantly longer than I had hoped. As you can see, in some spots I really was able to get some good wedges out of the trenches, while in other places the soil just crumbled like here, and even the subsoil, as you can see here, is really not the best. It's pure clay. hard as stone due to the dryness. Still, I dug the trenches to a spade's depth, smoothed everything out a bit with the rake, and now I can lay the pipes in here. While the upper part has had soil accumulating for over 100 years, I only recently filled in the lower part. You can see that here. The soil is still absolutely soft, and even the grass that had already started to grow on top wasn't able to hold this loose soil together. That's why I haven't been able to remove wedges from the trench, but instead just dug everything out over mounds of earth. I've also exposed the access to my second distribution box so I can push the pipe through the opening here and connect it to the existing pipe. On the sides, supports have been put in place to hold the curbstones. This applies to this corner, to that corner, and supports have been put in place to hold the curbs. This applies to this corner, to that corner, and over there, the two corners in the smaller zone. Of course, this concrete is rock hard and can't be opened with a spade. That's why I'll be using the compressor and my pneumatic chisel to hammer and chip away at it enough so that the sprinkler can fit into this hole at the right depth. I'll clear it out, and in between, I will carefully use the spirit level to make absolutely sure that everything is perfectly even and level. Now that I've also chipped away at the other corners, I can start laying the pipes and installing the sprinklers. I'll start here at the front of the house. I'll prepare the sprinklers accordingly, install the appropriate nozzles and fit the swing joint, and at the front end install the connector for the PE pipe. This component will then be placed in its intended position for now. After that, I'll lay the pipe into this trench, connect it and backfill the sprinkler with soil, setting it to the correct position. It's important that the sprinkler stands level, or when it pops up, that it stands upright so that it can spray evenly to the sides. The pipe will then be laid over here. At this point, I'll install a T-piece, one branch going to the main pipe and the other to the next sprinkler on the other side. I have here the supply line to the two sprinklers by the house, and here now the supply line other existing sprinklers. Then, specifically to the two sprinklers located at the parking lot area. I now need to carefully connect these 2 points here via the T-piece fitting, ensuring a secure and proper connection, and can then continue in this direction toward my valve box. To connect everything together, I will now proceed to create a bit more ample space, and then, as the initial step, carefully position the T-piece securely onto the pipe. With the T-piece, you need to know that the cutting edge is located back here on this is the precise spot where this conical funnel-shaped taper ultimately ends. The pipe then extends directly up to this specific point. In this particular case, when I carefully place it here exactly like this, I am absolutely certain that I can precisely cut it at this very point. Make sure when you cut that the pipe doesn't fall too often or too deep into the ground. Otherwise, before the system is fully operational, you'll have to flush everything out. To attach it, open it half a turn, slide it on, push it in firmly, and then turn it back half a turn until it clicks into place. After that, you can still rotate it, but it's already secure. If I position the whole thing here and lay it out, then I know exactly where it is. I make my marking, and in case the pipes are already installed on both sides, you'll need to make both markings, of course, so you can cut out the entire middle section. In this specific case, you can clearly observe that the right pipe has been successfully installed and is now securely in place, while the left one remains completely free and unattached. This means it's entirely sufficient if I only proceed to mark the necessary points on the right side. To begin, it requires a simple half turn of the fitting to fully open it, allowing for the smooth and easy insertion of the pipe. Once the pipe is fully inserted and properly seated, another gentle half turn in the opposite direction will securely close the fitting, and then the installation on this side is completely done. And on this other side, the exact same procedure applies. A precise half turn to open the fitting, then carefully push the pipe in all the way until it is firmly seated. Again, and it's done. I'll arrange the pipes nicely in the trench. Lay them out. At the moment it's very warm, so the sun is doing its part. I've installed the first 4 sprinklers. I've placed the sprinklers in each corner and pressed them in with a bit of soil for now, just to hold them in place. Once everything is sealed and I've done my test, I'll soak this area thoroughly with water, fill it up again with soil, and then pack everything down properly. Press it down firmly. The pipes come from back there, just as shown on my construction plan. Here is the T-piece that connects to this sprinkler. The pipe goes around the corner here. As you can see, it's not lying properly yet in this spot. I'll need to use the spade to help a bit here, and then it goes to the T-piece, and from the T-piece, the remaining pipe from the roll, which ends here as a dead end. In some spots, I've already put back the wedges I cut out, my soil wedges. You can see there's still a lot lying around here. If you laid down a tarp underneath, it's really easy. I'll just gather everything up later with the rake and then go over it with the lawnmower. The lawnmower works like a vacuum cleaner and picks up the rest. These stones and this debris that are here in the lower soil, I'll dispose of them. And as you can see here, the whole thing isn't evenly filled in. I'll also water this area thoroughly so that everything becomes soft, so I can step it down. Then I'll cover everything with topsoil, which I'll bring in again. I've left the T-piece as well as all the other T-pieces and connectors open so I can test whether the connections are tight. For this, I've left them open so I can test whether the connections are tight. For this, I will now carefully attach an appropriate adapter to the very end of the hose. Here you can clearly see the specific pipe section. On the other side, I've simply attached a coupling from 3/4 of an inch to the 1-inch Gardena tap connector. Now I'll just put it on here. Half a turn to open, slide it on, push it in, and half a turn to close. Now I'll insert the hose and then the sprinklers should already start to pop up here. Yes, the whole thing works, but it's not really properly adjusted yet. You can see the automatic sprinklers are currently spraying water absolutely everywhere, covering a wide area, except for the precise locations where they are actually intended to deliver water. This unfortunate situation makes it quite challenging and not so easy for me to effectively demonstrate and show you everything I had planned to present here. Specifically, the large main sprinkler, which is a significant component of this irrigation system. Of course, it sprays exactly where it absolutely shouldn't, creating a bit of a mess. But for the time being, I can meticulously set it up temporarily in this particular manner. Over the comprehensive course of this entire project series, I will thoroughly show you, step by step, how to achieve various intricate tasks and complete the overall build. How you can properly adjust the sprinklers, the angle, the throw distance, the starting zone. But for now, I just want to check if everything is leak-proof. And for that, the best thing to do is to turn on the sprinklers so the heads pop up, but without actually watering. I've also installed the last 3 sprinklers. The corner sprinkler for the left side, for the right side, and the T-piece, which serves as the inlet. Here again is the large sprinkler, which is supposed to cover the entire sides. I've already partially laid out the pipes so that they don't bend and pop out of the hole again. Ideally, you lay the pipes with 2 people or use a pulling device. I have neither, so it's actually quite not so easy to unroll the pipe from the coil. Before I install my main distribution station in the valve box, I'll lay the pipe that goes into the second valve box. This is simply laid parallel to the first pipe, pushed through, connected, and also connected on the other side. But to make sure that my distribution station is stable, I've already assembled it. Here, and here I've installed pre-made seals in the distributor head of this Rainbird manifold. Only this coupling I've sealed with Teflon tape, both on the pipe and at the connection to my shutoff valve, so that in case of a leak I don't have to fumble around in the tight valve box. I'll test the whole thing on for leaks. For now, I've just temporarily attached a tap connector at the end here, and will securely connect the water tap, ensuring a tight and reliable seal. This careful connection is essential for proper operation, and that looks really good, providing a clean and professional appearance. If I now open the valve and then carefully close the valve again, ensuring it is fully sealed and secure, it fits perfectly, indicating a proper connection has been established. The tap on the other side also fits just as well, confirming that all connections are sound, and the whole system is completely tight, with absolutely no drips or leaks visible anywhere, which is a great sign of a successful installation. I can now confidently proceed to install the distribution station exactly as it is, without any further adjustments or concerns. I've already prepared everything for this next step, installed the manifold head in the valve box, and as you can see, I had to improvise a bit after all. The rod was actually too long with this large slider, it just barely fit in. I also had to replace the blue fittings with Gardena fittings, especially here on the side. There just wasn't enough space to connect the pipes here, to screw them in. If you have dug out the entire area around the outside and are basically at the 0 point, so to speak, then of course the blue fitting can also be used, because you have enough room on the left and right to work with these pipes. However, I installed this box over a year ago. It's already well embedded in the soil. I really didn't want to dig up the entire area again. Here I have the connection for the further distribution of the pipe laid to this other box, which is supposed to supply the back of the driveway at some point. Here I have the valve that supplies the sprinklers on this area. Here I have the fitting with the pipe connection, which runs across my gabion slope, where I have a slope irrigation system and also want to build the irrigation for the raised beds and similar things. And here at the shutoff valve, which is currently also turned off, there is another water line that will run under my walkway to the animal house, so that there will be a water supply there as well. The whole thing has now been sitting for a good half hour. The water pressure is holding and the gauge isn't moving. That means that the whole system is sealed tight. What should you pay attention to during installation? Basically, the manifold should be well positioned. After I installed the manifold, after I did a leak test, I supported the whole thing with gravel underneath. The manifold, as well as the valves, the fittings and the like, are firmly embedded in this bed. That means if pressure is applied from above here, nothing bends downward. Furthermore, the outlets here should each run parallel, just as they come out of the bottom of the manifold head. If the coupling is pushed forward and the pipes bend a little to the left or right, it can happen that the seal located in this sliding coupling does not hold completely tight and water leaks out here. That's why I had to remove a bit more soil from around my pipe here to create a nice base. I secured the pipe with some sand and gravel on top, otherwise the whole thing is sealed. I still have the essential connections for the primary control computer meticulously arranged right here, readily accessible. I will certainly be demonstrating that in much greater detail for you at a later, more opportune moment. For now, we are going to proceed with a swift and comprehensive test right away. As you can clearly observe, all of the individual sprinklers are actively running and functioning perfectly. This is being done as a crucial precautionary measure to ensure everything is operating as expected. I've pre-adjusted them a bit so I don't get completely soaked sitting here. The wedges on the lawn area have now all been put back in place, or rather the loose soil has been hooked back onto the smaller section. As you can see, the whole thing is still round. It's not really buried yet. The soil is simply still too hard. As soon as it softens up from rain or watering, I can press the soil down, go over it with the lawn roller and get everything nice and smooth. The soil you see here is just made up of stones and debris. I'll be getting rid of that. The other soil I've put into buckets for now. I'll sieve it and then use it to fill in the bare and hollow spots. What else needs to be done? Next, of course, I'll connect the control computer to my valve. For this, I'll run the cable, connect the valve, and make preparations for the valves that will be installed further down later, so that a distribution center can be set up here. I'll run the cable on the other side to my control computer and program it accordingly so that this area is automatically irrigated as well. In addition, I will of course also adjust the sprinklers properly. I will install them correctly. At the moment they are still a bit loose because the soil is simply too hard. But with this rain, with this watering, as you can see here, everything is already getting softer so that I can install them properly. Adjusting the sprinklers and setting the irrigation nozzles, the angle, the starting area, and the throw distance of all the nozzles I've installed here. I'll show you that in the next video of this project series, because at this point I'm done for now. I hope this video was informative for you. If you have any questions, just write them down in the comments below. Also, feel free to leave a comment just to give me some feedback. And of course, I would be especially happy if you show your appreciation for my video with a thumbs up if you liked it. If you haven't already, click the subscribe button at the bottom right so you won't miss any of the new videos from this project series. And beyond that, take a look at the description. There, you'll find the manufacturer's instructions, links to my building projects, and you will also find links to the materials I used here. If you want to recreate this, just click. Same price for you and a small commission for me and my channel. I am done here and look forward to seeing you in my next video. Until then, take care. Bye.